So, it's about time that I sat down and updated you guys on a few big changes going on right now. I'm currently in between Namaze and Takedao train stations on an abandoned train track hiking trail. So basically I graduated in April and then I went dark for a good couple months. Even my parents were like, where did you go? I just started uploading again without any explanation, and judging by the comments, that started to confuse a lot of you guys. So today I'm going to lay it all out on the table again. Me in Japanese, why I went dark, my future plans, will I stay in Japan, my job, work, visa situation, and number 5, fun little bonus, some dessert at the end of all this meat. We are going to announce the contest winners. I did a Japanese book contest about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos ago, and we never announced the winners, so we're going to do that today. One of my goals right now is to actually restart learning Japanese again. I know that sounds kind of weird. I want to specifically start learning how to do more presentations, negotiations, and meetings. I want to learn how to talk to my coworkers in a way that doesn't make me sound like an idiot. So I'm going to actually probably restart lessons on italki. I think you guys have heard me talk about them a lot in the past. If you're looking for custom one-on-one lessons in Japanese, English, or another language, I used them when I was studying Italian and
Italiano. Ciao a tutti, mi chiamo Loretta, sono americana, questo è il mio cane, il suo nome è Lily.
And for some language challenges like that, how you can use italki to find a native Japanese teacher, a tutor. I always have the promo code in my description if you guys didn't notice. Real teacher is from the convenience of your home, which is what I need now. So I think what I'm going to do is start with italki because I need not so much learning Japanese. I think what I need to do now is just kind of iron out the awkward bump. People always ask if you're fluent, and I'm one of the types of people who will never say yes, especially until recently. I feel like I kind of hit the ceiling. I started doing negotiations, meetings, presentations, and I just felt myself struggling and just so tired and frustrated. After I graduated, I really had to go into hyper mode with Japanese. I used to just try to be cute or funny and like wiggle gaijin card my way out of speaking properly. For meetings or in emails or Slack messages, people will ask me to do something for them and I wouldn't know how to respond. So I would just like cutely be like, shou shou machiyo nyoro, trying to be cutesy, but it's wrong. Like you can just say like, nochihodo kuri shimasu. But I think I'm actually learning how to speak appropriately in the right situations and not just being polite versus casual. It goes beyond that. Like in the workplace, for example, if you're overly polite with your boss or your coworkers, then you're actually just being weird and rude. So there are these weird nuances of like IT boy talk, but not overly polite type of thing. So that was hard. One of the things that I find myself doing a lot recently is carrying an IC recorder and a notepad with me everywhere. When I hear people say phrases like that, I'll immediately write it down. Just try to copy them in my own way. So just to give you guys some context, right now I am on a hiking trail. So I'm doing the hike, I'm doing the trail. And this backdrop is so much prettier than my room. I started at Namaze station, picked up some snacks. Let me show you my snacks. The first one is enbun. I've been doing a lot of TV shoots with NHK recently, and all of the camera crew and the sound guys, they swear by these things. It's like calcified Gatorade, electrolytes in a chewable tablet. Since it is Osaka, figured I might as well do some commemorative octopus. This is the closest thing I think I'll get to takoyaki on this trip. Takomeshi. Ooh. Okay. Fishy smell. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. Oh, I think there's like a soy sauce, meeting sugar, salty sweet kind of combination going on. So the next big question is, where have I been? So I graduated on March 26th. Most of my friends, some of them either went back to their countries, some of them started full-time jobs here in Japan. My situation was a little bit different. Basically what happened to me is that I started embarking on this project for the first time, sponsoring my own visa. I have a more detailed video planned, but basically I hired an immigration lawyer, or in Japanese it's called a gyosei shoshi, and they basically helped me work through all the paperwork and figure out how to turn what I was doing into a neat little package. And the reason being is because of my work before and because of my thesis. So because of my thesis, I ended up doing a lot of different case studies and working with a lot of different companies as an independent contractor. So when I graduated, there was about 5, 6 or so companies that I was talking with and working with on the regular that basically were like, okay, so now what do we do? How do we move forward? I hired a gyosei shoshi, and they started putting together this package so that I could kind of rework all my contracts and turn it into something that made sense. This was very hard. So the paperwork and the effort it took to get this done, obviously I expected all this, but the hardest part was explaining to all these companies, sitting down with all of them in meetings, finally meeting my bosses, and going up these ladders and basically petitioning them to work with me to create this type of situation that I had dreamed up along with my lawyer. Incredibly hard, and this pushed my Japanese more than I think I've ever had to. The amount of emails, the amount of messaging, the amount of repositioning my Japanese so I don't sound like an idiot, my Rubik's Cube of life, because there are 6 different companies. Every time I thought I had the whole thing set up, it felt like there was like maybe one piece missing or something was slightly off. The last 3 months is me basically trying to crack this thing and get everything lined up on every side so that it was made a nice, perfect little thing that I could submit as my visa application. The too long didn't read is that where I've been the last couple months is setting up my next steps here in Japan. So this leads into the next questions. My future plans, will I stay in Japan? Yes, the answer is yes. Boomer and I both are planning to stay in Japan. His visa is part of this application. We both want to be here in Japan for a good while, but we're trying to set it up in a way that we can live more flexibly and well. A lot of it has to do with the environment in which we want to have and raise our family. Boomer started his 2nd year of language school and he's really loving it here and he's doing really, really well. Things are going very well. Also, I feel like I have to clarify. So because of me going dark and then suddenly uploading again and the order of the way these videos came out, it didn't dawn on me, but I need to be a little bit more careful with the way that I present and word things here on my channel. So for me, because of my thesis and the work that I had done, I already have it in my mind that my work situation is kind of always been contract consultant based type stuff. When I take on new jobs, new clients, new companies, when I start working with them, I call them new jobs because that's what they are. One big example is the NHK video that I just posted, talking about one of my newest jobs that I done in Japan. If you watch my Instagram stories, you probably already know the NHK show that we posted in July was actually filmed months ago. But because of the timing, because the way you guys saw it, I graduated, I went dark, and then suddenly one of the first videos I posted is me saying, oh, like a new job that I'm doing in Japan. Because of my thesis, I do a lot of different things. So for me, this is all just part of the Rubik's Cube of my work portfolio. But for you guys, it looked like I was announcing a new full-time job and that maybe I was giving up my degree or something. No, that's not the case. Rather than burn bridges and destroy the relationships that I had built with all these companies by only picking just one, what I actually did was picked the ones that worked the best together and made that a visa. I'm staying in Japan. I get to work with all the companies that I really like and I get to keep doing the work that I really like doing. And it's a huge, colorful group of companies that I really enjoy working with in media, completely separately in IT, travel, marketing. I'll explain the nitty-gritty how, what it's called, and what type it is in another video. I may even be able to get my lawyer to get in on a video, but we'll see. I just felt like I needed to clarify that. To be honest, ever since I graduated, I fell into this pretty big slump. I think I finally deflated once the adrenaline ran out. All I would do was work on my visa, do more meetings, and sleep, and that was it. That's like all I could mentally do. This is the second time in my life where I basically had the chance to repackage, really reassess what I was doing. This happened once in New York. I used to work in IT startups, and for any of you guys who have ever worked at a startup, you probably know that they're not the most stable situation. They usually have a 5-year fast track to either get sold, IPO'd, or squashed. So one of the companies that I was working with, we hit a lot of roadblocks, but it was really fun. And in the end, we it was shut down. These conversations about what I want to do in 5 years, not just reacting, but actually choosing to follow the things that I want, wanting to be a serial entrepreneur and wanting to be creative in my work and help more people with scholarships, with business ideas, with services, with technology, all these things that really make me passionate. To be able to do all of these things, I have to think beyond the possibilities of just one company, whether it's someone else's or one that even I think I could build myself. I don't think one company could solve all the things that I want to be passionate about. That's why this was such a strenuous and challenging but good labor of love the past 2 or 3 months. These were the conversations I was having with these companies, that in 5 years I want to be able to do these things. I want to start pulling the trigger on these ideas and on these projects, and I want them to be a part of it. You better believe this was a challenge emotionally, intellectually, personally, linguistically, just all across the board. I think this was the hardest thing I've ever done. That's where I've been, that's where I'm going, that's what I'm doing for now. So now that I've bored you guys, let's just close that up and get to the dessert. The contest winners. So many of you guys were really excited about the Dondengaishi series and of course the Kimi no Na and some other series as well. So rather than just pick one winner, I decided to pick one winner for each of those books. So are you ready to see the winners? I totally didn't record this after the fact. Attila Rosali, Gabriel Tupas, Forest Sprite, Starry Winks. Congratulations. Another couple just went by while I was doing that, and that was very embarrassing. But starting tomorrow, I'm heading back to Sayocho, one of my favorite places in Japan. And I said I'd be back in 4 years, but it turns out I get to go back earlier. Today, I'm going to finish this hike. I'm going to meet some of my friends for dinner, and then I'm actually going to swing over to Sayocho to see one of my friends, Susumu. See some sunflowers, my favorite flowers. So follow me on to the next video. I will see you guys there. I will see you guys in Sayocho, and congratulations to the winners. では、今日もご視聴ありがとうございました. Thank you guys, and I will see you on the trails.